Long job lines and the latest jobs numbers show just how weak job creation in the United States remains. Well, here with more is Mike Ryan, Senior Vice President of Madison Performance Group in Manhattan. And Mike, good having you on the program.
Good to be with you.
Yeah, the jobs numbers are discouraging, but if you peel them back further, the number of underemployed and the number of long-term unemployed, that's even more dismal, isn't it?
It is dismal, and peeling back the numbers I think is important from a couple of perspectives. Number one, the long-term employed is an issue. We are almost double of what we were a couple of years ago in terms of length. It's about 40 weeks right now for the long-term unemployed, and we're actually reaching a point where there may be a point of no return for some of those folks.
They just drop out of the job market
At least
altogether?
That's the perception of some employers. That I wanted to talk about was some of the interesting news, and I'll take that in the order of the number you just threw out there. One of the things that corporate America did last month is they also posted 2.3 million new jobs postings. So you say to yourself, why aren't they hiring at that level of a robust rate? And one of the issues is they're looking for people that are experienced. They're looking for people that may be coming from their competitors. They're not necessarily looking at the long-term unemployed just yet.
All right, they're looking for people who already have a job.
Exactly. So there needs to be a filtering through in the cycle before the long-term unemployed are giving serious consideration. So that's an issue for them. But one of the things about the numbers that was encouraging is that when you look at where the growth was coming from last month, it was in the private sector. I know that they reported net zero job growth, but that's a product of a couple of things impacting the numbers. Number one, the public government work has been declining for the last couple of months. Last month it was minus 17,000 jobs. So when you look at what the private sector did, not only did they create 17,000 jobs, but there was also an anomaly where the Verizon workers were included in that number. So in actuality there were 62,000 new jobs created. That's well below where we need to be, obviously. But again, it's 62,000 is a lot better than zero.
Yeah, let's talk about the state of Connecticut. And there have been gains in some of the sectors. Let's take a look at where those gains have been. This is for the month of July. 2,100 jobs added in manufacturing, which really surprised me. 900 in construction, 300 in information, 500 in business services, and another 500 in education. Wow, manufacturing really surprised me for Connecticut.
Surprises me too, because manufacturing as an aggregate number nationwide is same rate that it was in the late 70s. United States is not adding manufacturing jobs generally, so that's somewhat of an outlier. And that's not bad news at all. The other thing that I see too is that you see increases in what we call knowledge-based economies, which are economies where really it's the level of the person's engagement, the level of the intellectual and emotional commitment that they bring to the table that really means the difference. So I think it's interesting that you see growth in that particular area.
All right, let's take a look at where we're losing jobs in the state of Connecticut. This is July again. Really took a hit in leisure and hospitality. That makes sense considering the economy right now. Another hit to trade, transportation, and utilities are included in that as well. Other services down 600 and 300 in finance. That makes sense as well. So the economy is definitely reflected in these numbers here, without a doubt.
News for the finance side.
It's not bleeding as much as it was before.
Well, there will be a need for financial advisors, or at least that's what Business Insider came out and said today. They looked at the jobs that are going to be growing the most in the future, and because of the aging population, they looked at healthcare jobs and financial advisor jobs. So with Connecticut being kind of the hub for the financial advisor sector, the whole tri-state area, that's good news for the region.
It's interesting for people who have not been able to find a job, and they do see where there are opportunities, where the sectors that are hiring are. How do they transition? Maybe they don't necessarily qualify for those jobs. How do they transition their skills and make them, if they can at all, suitable for where there may be opportunities? That's
a great question. It's one of the things we actually are working with our clients on. We're very much focused group on the way employees behave, the people that do have jobs, and how that reflects the brand expectations of consumers and coworkers. So one of the things I think people looking for work can do is think of the job as part of the conversation, but also think about the organization's personality, the organization's spirit, and the expectation that they're generating in the marketplace and how they can fit in along those lines. A lot of organizations, for example, talk about themselves as being innovative and customer focused and efficient. position yourself in that context, not only just about the particular job skills you have, but how you're going to aid in the organization's perception in the marketplace.
All right, so when you're putting together your resume, kind of retool it to satisfy those needs or that culture that that company might represent.
Right, and I also think you'll show some insight, because I think more and more organizations are very sensitive to the perception of their brand in the market. The workers that they do have right now are very much overtaxed and overburdened, and that is having an impact, I think, on customer satisfaction. So I think organizations are very much looking to add employees that are not only going to be customer focused, but also going to be a big element in terms of contributing to their culture.
All right, Mike, good having you on the program.
Nice to be here, thank you.
All right, and that's all for this week on 12 on the Money. We'll see you next week. I'm Rebecca Surran.